Gentlemen, we had another Liverpool-Real Madrid fixture in the Champions League. It ended 1-0 to the mighty Reds. It was a good game at Anfield, Vish. Liverpool back at the races.
It was. They almost kind of lent on, like stereotypical European evenings as a bit of a adrenaline boost for this particular performance, because the crowd got whipped up in their usual way for these kind of evenings. The fact that it's Real Madrid as well puts a bit more on it. There's that status element to it of being involved in these games and going toe-to-toe with a team like that. And I was quietly impressed. I think there's the way they could have got back to being a team that attacks in waves is quite important, because it's quite hard for other teams to attack you when you're constantly attacking them.
Yes.
Which is a creditable way of defending, really, keeping the ball and laying one on your opponents. But I think broadly positive, yeah.
Yeah. Alexis McAllister said that it was a good game, but it doesn't mean anything after the experience of last season. He's referencing Liverpool finishing top of the league and then being knocked out in the round of 16 by PSG. I get what he's saying, Jim, but that is a very welcome victory performance, surely, for Liverpool at this little funny phase they've had.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's no benefit to Alexis McAllister to start proclaiming that they're going to sort of win the Champions League from here, though, is there? So I see what you're saying.
Come on, you coward.
Yeah.
And also, conversely, there's no, it's bad for him, actually, if he was like, God, thank God we're not shit anymore. I was really worried for a moment there.
That is just a media training 101, isn't it?
Yeah, fair play to him.
But I actually thought they defended really well as well. It was a sort of very, very good team performance. I was really impressed with Konate in particular, actually, who's had some criticism this season, and understandably as well, as his standards have kind of fallen below what we expect from him. But he was particularly good at sort of carrying the ball away from danger very, very confidently.
Well, Jim, he wants to move to Real Madrid.
Well, you're right.
He's got to show what he's got. Surely.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's it.
Can he play you every week until he joins you?
Can he play for you every week? Sorry.
Yeah. Important to get that detail right.
But you're right, though. They were much better defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. And Conor Bradley had a very, very good game.
Oh, superb.
Kept Vinicius quiet, although he had a very strange game, generally, Vinicius.
He's having a bit of a strange time.
Well, the Madrid are a bit of a kind of basket case themselves, aren't they, at the moment? Despite they'd won kind of all but one of their games. Going into this game, going into the season,
they hammered by Atleti.
Yeah, that's the only game they've lost. So they've won every other game. So it was a really interesting matchup, because obviously Xabi Alonso is still getting his feet under the table, but they look a very different proposition from last season, and they didn't really trouble Liverpool too much. They stood up to them really, really well. They kind of held them at arm's length. Those forward players, as talented and as good as they are, they couldn't really crack the Liverpool nut, so to speak. And there was a point where Vinicius was marking Van Dijk on a corner, and he was actively laughing about what a silly mismatch it was. And they just let him go. It was mad. And Van Dijk gets a header, and Thibaut Courtois makes one of like 3 or 4 incredible saves. And that's really the story of the game, isn't it? And I'm kind of pleased for Liverpool that that's the story of the game, because otherwise it might have been about the kind of the penalty that wasn't.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people saying they don't think it was a penalty, and I was quite kind of surprised by that.
You thought it was?
Well, I just think because it's the way he kind of throws himself at the ball. So even if his arm is tucked in, makes it a save, does it not?
Yeah.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? It's very kind of complicated at the moment in terms of what is and what isn't a handball. But had they not scored, that's going to be the talking point, isn't it?
Interesting. Yeah. When you described it there, Vish and I both lent our heads to one side as if to say, oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
I was trying to get a different perspective in my mind.
Yes. Did it work?
No. Difficult,
isn't it, to do that? But yeah, you're right to mention Thibaut Courtois, of course. Absolutely superb. But at one point, he was having his personal duel with Dominic Szoboszlai, which was quite enjoyable. But yes, I mean, Real Madrid, you have to give Liverpool credit defensively, Vish. But Real Madrid, I mean, the way they played and looking a little bit disjointed. I know Bellingham had a chance with the keeper saved his feet, but as Jim says, they've won 10 out of 11 in the league. Okay, the loss was quite spectacular, but let's invoke the it was a derby, and let's say are still a good side. They've been doing all right in the Champions League. Okay, losing 1-0 at Anfield, that's I'm happy if my team goes there and loses 1-0. You can do that, but it was it was very lackluster. It was as if it was that type of Real Madrid performance where it was almost like, these are on it. Okay, we're going to get through. We'll start trying it come the knockouts.
Yeah, I got a sense of that, which is why I'm not really looking too much into it. Okay. I mean, and also conversely, like I don't watch them week in, week out, so I find it hard to pass like total judgment on this performance. But I think we have seen it from Real Madrid teams in the past where, you know, this is a coasting bit. You know, it's like, you know, they've walked into the casino that they own. Their name's above the door. They're not rushing to the roulette table, are they? They'll have a drink.
Someone's won a few quid. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. But the house always wins.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I wouldn't put too much on it. But I do. I always like watching them when I do, because when they're on it, they're a lot of fun and they're best mates. And when they're not, it's like they've met for the first time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's that first year of secondary school type thing of like, are you cool? Do I want to be friends with you?
But there do seem to be some feuds developing, some sort of jealousy-based kind of strange wars of attrition between the players.
And it's only because
such a soap opera.
Yeah, and it's only because it's Real Madrid. If they were wearing any other kit, for example, like Liverpool, you wouldn't say like one of the reasons they've struggled is like, oh, I don't think Salah gets on with Wirtz.
Yeah.
Ooh, and I also, you know, you mentioned Vinicius as well. He is 25 going on 35, isn't he? He spent so long at Real Madrid and all the things he's had to deal with, whether it's like the internal politics or even simply the racism that he's encountered in Spain, he wears it like fucking Danny Glover. Like he's already at 25 too old for this shit. I want to also mention Conor Bradley as well, actually, because obviously there was a lot of focus on Trent Alexander-Arnold coming back.
Did he play? Did he come on?
I don't know that he did. I think they booed for something. I can't remember what. But he had a very good game. He does seem to raise it for certain occasions, and I think that's a great trait in a young player in particular. I watched him on the weekend against Aston Villa, and between getting physically bullied by John McGinn, he was actually quite engaging, and it made me look at him as a fullback who's a bit more like a striker, who can't necessarily or shouldn't dwell on his mistakes or his missteps, because he will lose a bit of what makes him good in games, which is taking a couple of risks, having a bit more thrust. And I think if he played within himself, you lose that and the team lose it, especially given what fullbacks are asked to do in the modern game anyway, whether that's push into centre midfield or be an auxiliary winger. But yeah, he had a very good game, and I can't remember the name of the guy he replaced, but having a lovely.
I mean, the emergence of Conor Bradley did certainly. I was about to say soften the blow. The blow still seems very raw.
No, I don't. I would also qualify what I said with I don't believe. I actually think it's too early for him to be starting for Liverpool.
Still. I mean, 22 years old is obviously young, but I understand that there are other players on the pitch.
It's a big risk given what Alexander-Arnold actually gave to that team, which is which we're seeing, you know, live at the moment in terms of the lack of not even a plan B, but just a different way of going about things. They've totally lost that with losing Alexander-Arnold.
It's that extra spark of creativity, isn't it?
Yeah, but Bradley's obviously doing a decent job.
Well, I mean, and caught the eye when they played Real Madrid previously when they won 2-0.
Yeah.
He was excellent in that game as well. So you've mentioned Trent Alexander-Arnold there. He did come on. Got booed, and that was that really, wasn't it? I mean, it was at the stage of the game he came on. I mean, it was very unlikely Real Madrid were going to get back into it. What did you make of the booing, Jim? I just
found it really sad, to be honest. Now, obviously, you know, a lot was said about this at the time, and he was booed when he was still playing for Liverpool, wasn't he? So we're sort of, I suppose, risking kind of covering old ground. I think one of the sort of sad things about it is that, you know, he gave a lot to Liverpool, didn't he? And these are conversations we've had before, and the reaction to it has been very emotional, understandably. But all of those successes he had, you know, are real, tangible things that he gave to Liverpool Football Club. He put his body on the line. You know, there are people almost behaving like, you know, they've done more for Liverpool than he has by supporting him, and he's a traitor and he's let them down and all these things. And obviously people can react how they want to things, and they have their right to boo if they want to boo. They paid their money and all those different things. But I just think in life, sometimes people do things that you don't like. You know, maybe one of your friends moves to another city or something like that, and you don't like that because it personally affects you in some way, but it's ultimately not your choice. And the only thing you can control is how you react to it, right? And I think there will be a lot of people kind of in the future a little bit embarrassed by that. I mean, it's very, very sort of soon after the effect. But I was really surprised by the vitriol of it, actually. There was a lot of it. Yeah. I expected there to be kind of some reaction, but I was surprised it was quite so intense.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Carragher was saying that Liverpool fans, or some Liverpool fans, you can say everyone, of course, he said that, as Jim said there, you feel betrayed, and the fact that Trent was saying, one day he wants to captain the side, and was really kind of talking big, and then he moves to a team who, as Carragher reminded us, has beaten Liverpool twice in Champions League finals. Now, I think that was slightly unfair of Carragher, if I may, to suggest there's this. I mean, maybe there is, in terms of trying to be the top dog in Europe, you're clearly Liverpool and Real Madrid, certainly in recent years, in every year for Madrid's case, other than a strange period in the sort of 1970s or whatever. It's always the case for them. But I still kind of fall on the side of, I think this is all a bit silly and unnecessary. Because I basically agree with Jim's point ultimately. If he'd have gone to a direct rival, I can understand that that's kind of quite a hard one to take. But very rarely is he going to play against them.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the betrayal talk. Let's remind ourselves, it's all relative, isn't it?
Sure.
It's like betrayal in football terms, and
and
obviously there's a family and local element to Liverpool Football Club that is felt quite keenly by the players that come through. I mean, obviously Michael Owen got a lot of shit for leaving Liverpool, but he's not quite a local lad.
No.
It would have been very different if Steven Gerrard had got his move to Chelsea or whoever else he was calling himself to.
Steve McManaman's the only one, really.
Yeah, to a point, but also McManaman wasn't as big a loss. Bear in mind that McManaman basically went to Real Madrid as a squad player.
Well, I think at the time it was undeniable, the fact that Real Madrid were a bigger and better club.
That is also very true. And
Whereas
it was
now,
a very clear step up.
Whereas now I think that Trent going to Real Madrid, different challenge, different all the rest of it, they are possibly the biggest club in the world. Liverpool are one of the biggest clubs.
Yeah, I mean,
I think maybe people think, how can you think that they're bigger and better than us? Sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's mad that we're even having a conversation about whether Real Madrid are a bigger club than Liverpool to excuse this.
This comes back to my point, which is all that matters in that is what Trent Alexander-Arnold wants to do. If you think Liverpool are bigger than Real Madrid, and for that reason, he shouldn't go there because you think that, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
If he wants to go and have another challenge somewhere else, he can do that. I think part of the issue was that initially there wasn't going to be a transfer fee, right? And they ended up paying something like 8.5 million in the end to get him for the Club World Cup. And I
ludicrous sentence.
Yeah, I know, right? And I mad, yeah. But I kind of understand the disappointment of that, right? But Real Madrid's strategy at the moment is that they are trying to sign big players on a free, right? And that is annoying. But it's do it like that or don't go there. Yeah. And if you have that ambition, you're just allowed to have that ambition, and it starts and ends there.
If Real Madrid really wanted him, what they should have done was, I don't know, like maybe try and poached him from like a really young age, like Liverpool did with Sterling, or Liverpool did with Harvey Elliott. It's a bit much when they're above the age of 14.
Yeah.
But no, like a serious point in it, I totally understand why Liverpool fans are booing him, but I think some of the more over-top reaction we see online, and certainly some of the boos that come at the ground, come from a lot of Liverpool fans cosplaying as fucking dyed-in-the-wool Scousers. And I appreciate the hypocrisy of me as a London-raised Manchester United fan is saying that, but I see it a lot in my fan base where people with more of a distant attachment from the club end up being the most vitriolic because it almost is their way of being like, no, but I also bleed red. I wish it was a different colour so I can make this point a bit clearer. But, I bleed Manchester United, but I really hate them. And because of that, I think it gets whipped up to a point. I actually don't really put much thought into the booing. What I think is totally out of hand is the desecration of the mural. Because I think that's... I've got to be careful here, but I think that is... There is a different kind of nastiness to that. I'll leave it at that.
The difference there, though, is that's one dickhead, isn't it? So it's kind of
it's one dickhead who that
could be
two. Who does and it's cheered on and lauded by many more dickheads.
Right, I see.
I mean, I was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last night. Harry Kane's mural is in fine shape,
and loads of dickheads, I'd imagine.
Until I turned up, Jim. By the way, I do think though, before we're going to move on from Trent Alexander-Arnold, but that idea of fans being upset because there was no transfer fee, that is to me the equivalent of people saying, no, I voted for Brexit for the trade deals.
Right.
And getting het up about trade deals. Do you see what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Anyway.
But the fisherman.
Yes, what does someone think of the fisherman? But look, back to the victory last night. Ekitike up top, Wirtz off the left, Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch in the midfield.
You mentioned earlier Szoboszlai and Thibaut Courtois having sort of personal battle.
Yeah.
I think I could watch that for hours.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay, so can you say this?
On the training ground, get them together. In fact, you know what? Szoboszlai, you keep playing like that, you'll get a move to Real Madrid. And you
Run down your contract.
Sorry. No, but look, that Liverpool 11, I'd know that to just cherry pick one game and again, we've got a smallish sample size so far this season, but trying to fit Isak in there and Wirtz has been they've struggled to kind of fit him in. So I understand he's a young man, early day. I'm not saying he'll never be a good Liverpool player and they'll never crack it or whatever. But Ekitike hit the ground running at Liverpool and back in the side. And that midfield three of Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch, we know how good it is. Wirtz in you'd say a more comfortable position kind of off the left coming in, which I know he has done as well.
In Europe as well.
In Europe as well, yeah. I just,
I just think it's a matter of time before this clicks. And they might not have the season that we were expecting them to have in pre-season, but at the same time, it's only just turned November. There's a lot of road to go. They may well turn it around.
Arsenal's still going to win the league, Jim. Don't worry about it.
Thank you. Lovely week for old Jimmy me. But yeah, it's these sound like problems, but none of them are.
Yeah.
Can they fit Isak in as well? Oh, poor old Liverpool.
Oi. Arsenal have got to clock up a big old advantage, by the way, before it clicks there.
Indeed.
They're coming for you. Now, what about this? A former Real Madrid man, Sir David Beckham, as we now know him, received his knighthood at Windsor Castle yesterday.
Is he a rat, Vish?
David Beckham?
For leaving Man United?
For Real Madrid?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, good. Harbour that hatred.
Oh, in fact, I hate him.
Well, don't pretend. Why you turned up at Windsor Castle to boo him yesterday?
I mean, I love David Beckham as a Manchester United player. He's a bit of a loser now.
Loser?
Yeah, come on.
He's a United the rat.
I wouldn't. Can I? I know. Loser's the wrong word. You could have used other words, and I would have been sympathetic to that. I wouldn't say loser.
No, I mean, like he hawks himself around for various different things that I don't think he truly believes in.
Has he been knighted by the Qataris? Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
How many knighthoods can he get?
Would you remember?
Has anyone been knighted in like 4 different countries? Because he's the man who could do it.
So it was 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember his emails got leaked?
Yes.
And he called the Honours Committee unappreciative.
Well, looks like they found their appreciation.
Because they didn't recognise like his charity and humanitarian work.
Yeah.
And that's all... that's why you do those things.
Yeah.
You give back to get.
Do you know what? I mourn the death of Jeremy Beadle. Because to me, that could have been... Because that could have been a proper prank. He gets them.
Yeah.
See what I mean? He's there at the castle already.
No one's stopping you, mate.
Yeah, true.
There's a vacuum there. No one would expect
what about
it
Rio
from
Ferdinand's
you. Yeah,
pranks?
he had a little go at it, didn't he?
Imagine that he gets down for the night and just a small hands on his shoulder.
My God. Or like Rio Ferdinand has brought his World Cup wind-ups out of retirement like 20 years later just to mug off David Beckham.
That would have been funny. He was as pleased as Punch. He got a little bit of K-pop to serenade him.
So this was really weird, wasn't it? So
yes, Jim. Jim, it absolutely was.
If you're wondering what we're on about, as he was receiving his knighthood from Charlie, he had there was sort of like a string quartet alongside it, and they were playing one of the songs from K-pop Demon Hunters. So presumably you choose the music that you're knighted to, which is amazing.
But the track
by the way.
was Golden, and his nickname was Golden Balls.
Oh, okay. Is that
So
why?
I assume surely the palace or the castle is not choosing
Can
that.
we get the can with a bit of yabba dabba doo at the start?
That'd be yours, Jim, wouldn't it?
No, I mean, I think I would.
You'd accept a knighthood. Wow.
I would turn up and snub it in person.
Nice.
And given
you turn the sword around.
Exactly.
You have it.
Take that.
They don't hand you the sword.
And you've got to take it off him. He's an old man.
Exactly. He won't be expecting it.
Big fingers, though.
Yeah, true. It's going to be a struggle.
You know what they're like, though? They stay young for long, those Raws.
True.
I would think he would pull out moves and
You're right.
your head would be off.
But yeah,
I'd cheer.
I'd go with Thong Song. It just suits a string quartet.
It does.
They're already there.
Yeah. Inexplicably.
Yes, exactly. This sounds like that anyway.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Is this the Thong Song?
Exactly.
I'd go for Don't Stop the Party.
Yeah, of course you would. And absolutely, you're correct to do that.
Thank you.
Part of the reason that this has taken so long is that David Beckham was caught up in a tax avoidance scheme. But he was proven, innocent, nothing untoward in the end. So just if anyone is wondering why there's no Sir Pete Donaldson, that is how these things happen. And also, little kind of another thing from this is that Posh Spice is now officially Lady Beckham, which I think is fitting.
That's nice.
Oh, lovely.
Lovely, lovely. You see, it all works out in the end. We've just got to trust the powers that be. Coming up after this, Micky van der Ven has submitted his claim to win the Puskás Award. Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. That was a South African commentator reacting to Orlando Pirates' equaliser against Mamelodi Sundowns, which, if you haven't seen that, it is a stunning volley.
Yeah, it's worth that reaction.
Oh, it's just a gorgeous volley, isn't it? Absolutely
so
delightful, yeah. It wasn't the only great volley of the weekend. You see, Inter's Zielinski scored a brilliant volley, which was a side footer.
A sort of really calm side-footed pass leading to an absolute rocket.
Yes.
Beautiful stuff.
He sort of, he caressed the ball, and in caressing it, as you say, turned it into a rocket. Because often you have to generate a lot of power yourself, but that, oh my goodness.
It was that football Pong, wasn't it?
A little bit.
The video game.
A little bit. Staying with great goals, we now go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for Spurs 4, FC Copenhagen, a 0. Micky van der Ven, ladies and gentlemen.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my giddy aunt. I was at the game. I know it was a great goal, Jim. I saw it.
You saw it. You were there.
Paraphrase Richard Keys.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was one of those ones. Look, I'm going to describe what everyone else thought while they were watching it. It doesn't matter if you're at the game or watching it on an old black and white TV in the corner of the room. When he gets the ball and it opens up and he gets over the halfway line, you're like, there's a real oh, go on, go all the way. And as he starts gobbling up the yards, you're like, and it was, do not square that ball.
Yeah.
Because the pass was on. And I'm thinking, I think he's going to square. He's a centre half, isn't he?
The finish, though.
The finish was emphatic. Honestly, I was one of those moments where you've witnessed true brilliance and greatness. And you are, what's that quote? Like, if you elevate everybody around you or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone in the stadium just felt 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
Because to witness that, oh my goodness, it was just incredible. Incredible. Yeah. In fact, so the previous, prior to last night, I think I would often say that the possibly the best goal I've ever seen live, or definitely one of the best, was Mark van Bommel's beauty for the Netherlands against England.
Yes, top corner.
At the old White Hart Lane.
Yeah.
So there's something about me being in that part of North London, because that I would say. But when somebody spoke to a mate who was watching another game, he said, "Oh, what happened?" I said, "Micky van der Ven scored the best goal I've ever seen live." Mm-hmm. It was. I think it even, not that you have to compare, but I think it eclipses that one that Son scored against Burnley.
Yeah, I was there for that, and the symmetry is quite cool because he takes it from the same position. And he also gets through the same cluster of players on the halfway line.
It's that cluster, isn't
and it's after he gets past that bit, you're like,
yes,
he can score here.
He's in.
He can score a worldie.
Yeah.
The finish was great.
Finish was superb.
As you said, like left foot near post, sees the angle, gets the right shape on it. Also a little bit Gareth Bale.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So many touches to take, but all very purposeful. And this, to their credit, is the fun side of Spurs, isn't it? So they've been criticised last week for being too defensive and not being imaginative enough. And
too shite.
Yeah, exactly.
Against
and
Chelsea.
they respond to that by going a man down
Yeah.
And then this happens straight away. Just like I am marauding down the pitch and I'm going to try and take everyone on and score. And I have. It's amazing. Beautiful. Absolutely brilliant. And then Romero's at it shortly afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was so funny. They kept catching him on the break, easy peasy. I mean, Palhinha scores a few minutes later, which I thoroughly enjoyed, of course, to see the great man scoring. But you would never know that Spurs were down to 10 men. The only thing that kind of gave it away slightly was they were just going a little bit deeper, but devastating on the break. And Spurs needed this, I think, because FC Copenhagen have not been good in the Champions League so far this season. I think, what is it, 1 point or 2 points from their opening few games. They haven't won a game. And at half-time, it's 1-0. Kolo Muani has missed a couple of good chances.
Yeah.
Xavi Simons is playing great. He's pulling all the strings, but he should have had 2 or 3 assists. And you think at 1-0, you could sense a little bit of nervousness of, okay, we're on top here. But it's the classic, because against I know Villarreal are a better side than Copenhagen, but it was only the 1-0 against Bodo Glimt. They had to come back against Monaco, so they've not had a great time in the Champions League, despite, the points tally is decent, but let's be honest, the quality of opposition has not been that high. You compare them...
Yeah, and they were trash against Monaco. That was one of the worst games I've seen this season.
Yeah, right, exactly. And of course, off the back of that Chelsea loss as well, you're needing something. So if they'd have just played it out and it ends 1-0, or maybe 2-1 or something, whereas this gives so much confidence. How it will translate to the next game, we will find out, because Van de Ven... I mean, he can do that every week, but he just simply won't by the law of averages. Honestly, that pace. I know he's so pacey, but when he was just getting faster and faster, it was off the scale.
Do you remember Lucio?
What, the Brazilian defender?
Yeah. You like the stride. You're like, So when they showed the comparison, I think Spurs did a side by side with the Son goal. Son takes 3 times as many steps as he does.
Yeah. Wonderful stride.
The thing you mentioned about Xavi Simons having a good game, he has looked in the league totally devoid of confidence.
Yeah.
Like a shell of the player that we know to be, one of the most promising midfielders in Europe. And I think the error against Chelsea showed that, because in, a different iteration of Xavi Simons that we've already seen, just drops the shoulder and takes it away from goal without touching the ball. And in this case, as he did on the weekend, plays it straight back to Van Ven, puts him in trouble, and Chelsea get the goal that matters to win that game. And here he still looked like he was kind of trying to push up a level, and then gets that assist for Brennan Johnson, and then starts to feel himself a little bit. And obviously it's building blocks from there, but... Kolo Muani, that was a lovely touch.
Oh, I mean, okay, he didn't score and he should have scored, but my goodness, what an assist.
Yeah. But at the same time, we can't talk about both those 2 goals without referencing the fact that Katarski in the Copenhagen goal was trash.
Had a mare, didn't he?
Absolutely dread. What are you doing coming out of your box like that?
Shouldn't be being at your near post, should you?
And that as well. We forgot to mention, he had a sighter. He's coming from all the way down there. The British are coming,
Yeah, he's Dutch, but I take the point.
Yeah, but there's enough forewarning. That's why they won that war.
We're allies.
Yeah, now. Yeah, for a bit. I don't know what I'm doing here. Sorry.
We have to have a chat after this.
I'm not going to the US for Christmas this year, so I don't care.
You're just biding your time.
Yeah.
He'll be in the next term as well. No, I don't. Yeah.
Ice aren't going to be still around next year, are they?
Who knows? Who knows? But look. It was a great with Spurs. The only man who came off the pitch at the end of it was thoroughly pissed off was poor old Richarlison.
Yes.
I mean, he has a couple of chances.
Yeah, even Brendan Johnson was happy. I got my goal. Doesn't matter, does
it? Yeah, exactly. First goal for him in the Champions League, of course. Straight mixed night for him, but
harsh red, I thought.
He's unlucky. He's definitely unlucky.
Yeah, he's unlucky. I can understand why it was red.
I understand the way as he slides in, his studs are showing, and it kind of continues. But if he'd have managed to pull out or whip his foot away,
I think he thinks it's gone.
Maybe.
I think he's thinking, he's beyond me, so he doesn't try to do that.
Yeah. But I mean, he catches. Yeah, if you do that, you'll.
I appreciate he can't convince the referee otherwise once he's seen it and give him the red card. But he ran off pretty quickly, did he not? I thought there'd be a bit more protestation, but it was almost like he's like,
maybe that's something to be.
I got my first goal, I just get off here,
Yeah, true enough, yeah. But yeah, Richarlison, and then the penalty miss, and you just thought, oh dear. Poor old Richie. But that was that. So, yeah. So, a very good win for Spurs. Thomas Frank was very pleased. He got his apology from Jed Spence and Micky van der Ven. Apparently on the Monday, he said that they both came into his office unprompted and said, I want to say sorry for the situation.
And this is referencing like when they walked past him.
They pied him off after the Chelsea game, yeah.
So, I mean, but like, did Van der Ven go through like 9 Copenhagen players and be like, look, I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, maybe.
Didn't mean to ghost past you so easily.
Yeah, well, after the match, Frank also said, well, he can keep walking past me if he is this angry after a game if he delivers this, you know, so fair enough. So, yeah, I think that gives them a really much needed boost.
Yeah, I mean, because their home form has been, you know, not what they would have wanted so far. And it's important, obviously, to create a connection between the fans and the new manager, right? So this is exactly what they needed in terms of putting that right.
Yeah, and look, are they away to PSG next in the Champions League? So
they've got a big match on the weekend, haven't they?
They have a big match again. Certainly, they're away to PSG soon in the Champions League. So after 4 games, 2 wins, 2 draws. Might have wanted maybe a couple more points, but look, they're 7th. They're in the automatic spots. I think all in all, not a bad position considering it's Frank's first stint in the Champions League as a manager as well, and obviously what happened last season. So not too shabby, Now, former Spurs manager Ange Postecoglou is of course being linked to a move back to Celtic
by Snoop Dogg. I think it's really important to include that detail.
Well, old Snoop has told the Celtic board he wants to invest in the club and bring back Ange. Is he going to? I thought he'd already stumped up a bit of cash. He was talking about that burger van.
Yeah, but apparently the burger van hasn't materialised.
Yeah, funnily enough.
So, yeah.
Well, anyway, Snoop Dogg said, you've got to give Martin O'Neill big respect. He's coming back when we need him. I think you got to give...
What?
He's been a fan of them for years, apparently.
Yeah.
I know, but still, it's Snoop Dogg saying we about Celtic.
Yeah. I know what you mean, and with we and need next to each other, usually Snoop says something quite different. But anyway, he says, I think you need to bring Ange back. The club are going to do what they're going to do, but the fans would love to see him back. So there we are. He's got the backing.
I mean, that is true. Like there is a lot of support for Ange coming back. I mean, they love fucking returning to ex-managers, don't they? If it's not Lennon, it's O'Neill, it's Rodgers. I mean,
there is a pattern there.
I don't think they loved when Rodgers came back. They were a bit like, okay.
But certainly there is a groundswell for Postecoglou, in part because I suppose he gave them an identity, didn't they?
That's true.
Or didn't he? You know, they were quite very engaging, very fun, and then neither of those things at the moment.
True enough. Well, can they catch the magnificent Gorgie boys?
Yes.
We all hope that they can't, Jim.
I think that'd be fucking annoying if they do.
Yeah. They will.
Yeah.
They're going to.
Oh, right.
If they do that, they should cancel the Fringe.
Vish, are Liverpool going to catch Arsenal? For the sake of my prediction, hopefully not.
No, I don't think so. I think Man City are more of a chance of catching Arsenal.
Thinking of your prediction, are you?
Yeah, but also Arsenal won the league, as Jim was saying before we got on air.
Yeah. Came in
already wrapped up.
Came in drunk from the celebrations last night. Well, let's talk about Arsenal.
I'll have my own parade.
Slavia Prague 0, Arsenal 3. Arsenal yet to concede a goal in the Champions League this season. They haven't conceded a goal in any competition since September.
Oh, well done.
It's all about defence, isn't it, Jim?
You know, the other team are allowed to score. That's part of why we watch it.
Well, if you don't let them, then they're not,
are they?
What
good is that?
It's really good, actually. I think.
Imagine if you're in a play and you just don't let anyone else do other lines.
That's more of a collaborative effort, though, isn't it?
It's more of a selfish improviser.
If I'm watching this at 5:45,
you've never seen a play, have you?
Well, films are plays in a way, aren't they?
The cast are fighting each other. Give me that line.
Anchorman is a play, is it not?
I suppose it is. But Jim, Arsenal, easy peasy, perfect in the Champions League.
I might even add lemon squeezy.
Go on, there you go.
Wow. Yeah, it was. There were impressive elements to it because Pierre Hincapié started his first game at left back. Last game he started, he played as a centre back. Christian Norgard came in because Zubimendi was suspended as well. And they got it done. Obviously, Mikel Merino started up front. And before the game, I was thinking, we're at a situation again where Arsenal don't have a recognised striker. Merino was really good there last season, but the playing style has changed slightly. They press a bit harder. Does Trossard make a bit more sense in that role because he buzzes around? But who am I to doubt Mikel Merino when he steps into that striker's position and just seems to really casually score goals? First one was lovely because he's obviously the favourite for it. He's in a lot of space, but he's kind of in mid-air as he hits it, which is a lovely finish. The second one, I love it because it makes football seem really simple because it's essentially sort of like just winning a midfield flick on, but he's turned it into a goal. It makes me think if you play a centre back at centre forward, will they just tackle it in? Like if you play a goalkeeper up there, will they just goal kick it in? Is it that easy? But it's just a lovely goal that is again down to some quite shit goalkeeping.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah,
but yeah, they were really sort of controlled and professional yesterday, and I'm very pleased that Declan Rice didn't get a card as well, because he would have missed the Bayern game had that been the case. So that was important as well.
Yeah, an 8th clean sheet in a row for Arsenal, which equals a club record for consecutive shutouts, which was set in the 1903-04 season. And I think that may have been
before XG was born.
Yes, exactly. This Arsenal team have become the first English side to win their first 4 games in this competition, so Champions League / European Cup, without conceding since Leeds United in 1969/1970. So it's all looking very, very good for old Arsenal. I mean, to the point of, Jim, they even brought a 15-year-old on.
Yeah, and a 17-year-old in Andre Harriman and Anus as well. But the reasons for that are the reason I made that little noise, which is the injuries all concentrated in the forward areas are really racking up now. Yeah. The 7 players missing. Trossard went off yesterday. I don't know how serious that is, so maybe he won't count among that 7. And some of these players are due back soonish, but there is a problem in the immediate short term. Yeah. And they've equalled the record, haven't they? So, I mean, it is all set up for Granit Xhaka to get a goal at the weekend and spoil that party.
Yeah, I mean, we should say that Max Dowman, I'm sure everyone saw this, became the youngest player ever to appear in the Champions League. 15 years and 308 days old.
It's like an amazing touch, like pretty soon after coming on.
Yeah, he was incredibly involved as well.
And as well, to come into this Arsenal side as well, which is the best Arsenal side we've seen for
a long time.
A long time, yeah. I understand the side that pushed Man City, was it 2 or 3 seasons ago, was very, very good. I still feel this side, even though it's early days.
Yeah, this looks like the best side Arsenal have had under Arteta.
Yeah, and so for him,
without a doubt, yeah.
So for him to come in there it's an enormous achievement. You can't, you run out of superlatives to talk about a 15-year-old crossing that white line in a professional capacity. Even if he was playing in the League 2 or something, it would be an enormous achievement.
He's also been making matchday squads when more players are fit as well.
Yeah, I mean it's stunning stuff. But all that aside, he's in the side, he's in the team. To come into this Arsenal team where everyone is buzzing, there's so much confidence around him and there's so much steel behind him in terms of the defence. Yeah.
And the players look for him as well. He's absolutely there on merit.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I mean, the crucial, you mentioned Arsenal's injuries. They cannot get an injury to Gabriel.
No. Well, you say that.
The most important player is Declan Rice.
Okay, Rice as well.
Rice ahead of Gabriel.
Yeah, because with Gabriel, you've got the option of Mosquera. Hincapié played as a centre-back, as I said before, did very well there. Calafiori can play there. I think Rice is the only player, even when everyone's fit, that you can't really replace.
Yeah, true enough.
They're doing it without Odegaard at the moment. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Eza is fresh to the team still, so we don't necessarily know, or rather, he's not necessarily implanted himself in the way that they play. But Rice does things that no other player in that squad can do, and does them every week now.
Yeah. Like he's one of the best midfield players in the world.
Amazing.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
I think you mentioned that, and like a few other pundits have mentioned his status in European football at the moment. I don't disagree with that at all. But he's so integral to everything they do, and I'm going to borrow a page out of your book here. Everything England hope to do next summer.
Yes. Speaking of England players, Conor Gallagher. What a goal that was for Atletico
Lovely.
Madrid. Are you watching Thomas Tuchel?
A bit of kind of Crystal Palace era. Conor Gallagher shifting it, banging it top corner. Lovely.
Hey, he could keep Jude Bellingham out of the England team in due course.
Sure.
But Declan Rice, a magnificent. And mad to think that a few years ago when he was still playing for West Ham, people thought his natural position would be to go to centre-half.
Yeah.
That's
quite a long time ago now, I think.
Still, that was the chat. And now, look at him, everybody. Look at him go. So Arsenal, they're second in the Champions League behind Bayern Munich, of course, who... and it's not even on goal difference, it's on goals scored. Bayern have got 14 of the buggers. Yeah. Arsenal, of course, 11, but haven't conceded. So both on 12 points, because Bayern got a very impressive victory against PSG in Paris last night. Luis Diaz had a very eventful first half, got a couple of goals and then got sent off.
Yeah, I mean...
The imperfect hat-trick.
The Balotelli hat-trick, as Vish called it earlier. They are clearly, I would say, by some distance, the best team in Europe right now.
But they've
won every game, haven't they?
When Vincent Kompany went there, Jim, you said, I'll tell you what, I trust this guy. It's remarkable, isn't it?
It really is.
When your face fits, you know, it's the old. It's like that former Barcelona players when they can make a manager, but something happens when they go back to the club.
It's like
Frank Rijkaard is the ultimate example. I think Vincent Kompany is going to have a more fruitful managerial career than Rijkaard did, despite Rijkaard having won the Champions League. But yeah, he showed what he wanted to do at Burnley. Difficult circumstances, of course. When he gets the Bayern job, he was like the 6th or 7th on the list or something.
Even after Glasner, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, and everyone thought, this guy, of course, he's going to win the league. But my goodness,
it's the panache, isn't it? And that forward three of Diaz, Kane, and Elise is really something. I mean, I know Diaz has had some teething problems where he might have missed a few chances that you might otherwise expect him to score at the beginning, but I think he's very quickly shown his worth. Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of the Sadio Mane move, but it's worked.
Yeah,
It felt like it was a really good fit, and then it just has been. And Elise as well is I mean, potentially. If he kind of hits the heights that I think he's capable of, he might be a future Ballon d'Or winner. I think he's that good.
I don't disagree with that, and I think the player who's challenging him for that in Europe right now,
Mickey van der Ven,
is Harry Kane. Harry Kane has been the best player in Europe this start of the season.
Yep.
He's doing all the things that we've seen him do in the Premier League, but with a bit more swagger.
Yeah.
Almost like with an Andrea Pirlo touch.
A little bit. There's a bit of like this. When Kane was doing it in the Premier League, he was doing it with a lot of industry.
Yeah.
And now you can't see that industry because there's a bit of a strut in the way he does it.
I know this sounds utterly ridiculous and ludicrous, what I'm about to say, but I think what he's been doing in this last year, like it's almost like a touch underrated.
Yeah, massively.
No, 100%,
the amount of goals is insane, and it's not just goals that he's bringing to that team either.
Yeah, I'm glad that wasn't insane.
No, I think him and Erling Haaland are just streets above anyone else.
Yeah,
as forward players.
Yeah. But I also think with Kane, and this is kind of a chicken and egg thing, but because we, as part of the English media, we do end up hyping a lot of English players because we see them week in, week out, and like English media is quite prominent across the world, whatever. But then because of that, the reaction the other way is to be like, oh yeah, but you always go on about these players. But in this particular situation, we are not bullshitting here. Harry Kane has been the best player in Europe this season.
Indeed. Coming up after this, a pie and a journalist have a fight on X. Gentlemen, before we talk about tonight's Champions League games, let's have a little Wolves manager update.
Oh, this is brilliant.
You enjoying this?
Probably not if you're a Wolves fan, but this
Top
is
of the league Arsenal
like
fan. I really like seeing those clowns.
But
Have you seen how they live down there?
Wolverhampton's not a nice place.
Apparently they're below deck singing their songs. They've only got 1 foot. It's mad.
So in terms of sort of managerial merry-go-round drama, this single appointment, the way it's shaping up, is like a sort of prestige drama with the most incredible ensemble cast in terms of the drama of it. So you got Gary O'Neill.
He's pulled out the race.
Exactly, Gary O'Neill turning it down. Former manager who also at this stage of last season hadn't got a single win with them. They're like all of their best players have gone since then, and he's gone. You know what? Actually, maybe I don't think maybe I don't think I'm the guy for that.
Yeah.
You've got former caretaker manager Rob Edwards, which is just enjoyable to start with. Brother Brendy, hot off of a tumultuous exit from Celtic.
There's no way.
Not welcome back at the club. It's that bad, Eric Ten Hag, which would be sensational. None of them seem to want that, right? Even though when you look at Ten Hag's career, like it's essentially until Leverkusen, it's all been success because he won those 2 cups at United. You have to count that, and then his ego is unable to resist the idea of getting back into the Premier League now that long balls and throw-ins are back in fashion. Big Sam has thrown his own hat into the ring. This is magnificent.
Yeah,
it's like Mamma Mia.
It really is.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Jim. Let's clear out all those other possible candidates because realistically, they're not possible, are they? But Sam Allardyce has refused to rule it out. It's glorious, Jim.
It really is.
He said, I suppose the amount of times I've said I might retire, I can never say never because the amount of times I've actually bounced back. So I think that possibly...
and continue to bounce back and I'm bouncing back.
Needless to say.
Am I ready for a new appointment bounce? So he said, I think that possibly Wolves was one of my childhood favourite clubs that I started watching.
Possibly.
I suppose.
Who could possibly know?
He's possibly and suppose were in the same
Possibly
sentence
one of my favourites.
Oh, dear. And then he said, but who knows? Presumably you would, Sam. But anyway, I think I've heard they're looking for a younger coach anyway, so not too sure my time will ever come round again. But I sit and wait. You never know. I'm not actively searching. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. If you're in sunny Dubai like me, and you often think, why would you bother?
Just playing the
Because
hits.
you're in Dubai.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why you'd bother.
Yeah. I'd love to see him there. You have to. Come on.
I mean,
He's
been away for long enough that we can convince ourselves that that's the case. Yeah. It's like Mourinho, isn't it? You think you want him back, and then he's back and he's just horrible.
Oh, fuck. Imagine if Mourinho was available. He'd absolutely come.
No, he wouldn't. It's because he doesn't want a relegation on his CV.
Yeah, but like, fucking him and Mendes are pretty close, aren't they?
Yeah, but they're not. There's no way Mendes is strong arming Mourinho into going now.
No. Someone made the good point about how the pattern of Wolves managers has been like Mendes appointment, non-Mendes appointment, Mendes appointment, non-Mendes appointment.
Yeah, where are we now?
So we've gone
non-Mendes,
so we're non-Mendes. But yeah, so I wonder what if there is a reactionary appointment, is it Allardyce? And I'm meeting this more than halfway because it's more fun to talk about Allardyce than Ten Hag.
He fancies it,
but. Do you remember the early Bolton thing of just getting the big names in and knowing how to work with them?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that
mate, but I think you make a point. You've got a January transfer window that's not that far away. Mendes is basically pulling the, he has provided Wolves with a lot of options.
And yeah, and if they go to him and be like, look, even if it's only on loan, who are the best players in your stable that we could get?
Yeah.
Bear in mind that there's a World Cup coming up. Are there any players that you might need to
Premier League's a big
get game time?
window, No, I honestly think if I was a Wolves fan, I'd be thinking. I mean, the only thing is, it has too much time passed. Has the sun in Dubai? Yeah, well, okay, yeah. What's good for the Ramble? Yeah, okay, it's that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
But clearly, Allardyce fancies this because otherwise, why would he start sort of dangling the carrot?
Why would he say he's not sure if he fancies it?
Yeah, exactly. Why would he announce on national radio that he wants the job?
Has anyone heard from Harry Redknapp? Is what I'm saying. Get them all back.
Ten Hag is a funny one, isn't it? As well,
but they can say who they want.
Yeah,
Jim.
but
he's not going to go there.
But those links aren't
You don't
going
know
away,
that.
right?
You don't
because
know
he's
that.
in a really strange situation now, isn't he? Post Leverkusen, because it was such a disaster.
That's my prediction. He's not going to go there.
Because he'll go to Celtic.
No, no, because I think Wolves right now are in such a bad state.
That is true.
Why would you go there?
For the payout.
I mean, to be honest, he's got his United payout and his Leverkusen payout. It would be scandalous if he just goes there and makes no effort. Absolutely scandalous.
Imagine triple dipping compensation. That's class.
Well, no, but the payout often.
Gary O'Neill's still getting paid by Wolves.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, often.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but with the
look, if we're paying you, just come back.
Obviously, all these contracts have different clauses, and there's a lot of small.
Yeah, because often you lose you lose your compensation
when you take a job.
Exactly. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I don't know what the contract was for Bayer Leverkusen, but that is another reason why I don't think he's going to take the job there.
Like a fucking accumulator. Yeah, I'll do that, and that. And,
dearie me. Anyway, so yeah, good luck to you, Wolves. And I genuinely, despite all that, feel sorry for the Wolves fans because, my goodness, it's been an awful time for them, quite frankly.
Yeah, and in a similar vein, and feeling bad for the Wolves fan, anyone watching this and thinking that was genuine analysis of Wolves' options, no, it's purely what we want to happen.
Yeah.
I think people forget that about this show. It's not about what you want, it's about what we want.
But we love you for listening.
Yeah.
Tonight, Newcastle United host Athletic Club, or Bilbao, as they prefer to be called, Jim.
Yeah, exactly.
Tonight at 8 p.m.
Or Real Sociedad, as we christened them earlier this season.
Dan Burn has said Newcastle must be more ugly like Arsenal.
Rude.
Lovely.
The result of the weekend was surprising, wasn't it? Obviously, they lost to West Ham. They rested players in the Carabao Cup, presumably to keep them fresh for West Ham, and then lost that game. There's another game coming along now, so perhaps the schedule is kind of testing them a little bit already. And I don't know, perhaps Burn is talking about tightening up a bit and kind of reacting to that. But it was surprising.
I think he means more kind of dogged and determined, really, because they've got that in them. But their league form has not been good this season so far by their own standards. They are, in the cups, they've been good, as you say. They're through in the League Cup to was it the quarterfinals, and in the Champions League they've done pretty well. I know they lost to Barcelona in the opening round, but I don't think that's
fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. And Rashford pulls out, one in particular, one worldie. So 6 points from 3 games. I don't think that's too shabby at all.
There'll be heavy favourites for this.
I think there'll be favourites. Not about heavy favourites though. I thought Bilbao had no mugs. I mean, they're not going brilliantly in La Liga. They're 11th, but yeah, I think Newcastle would be targeting this as a win. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And I think that those Champions League nights at St James's Park, as we've seen in recent seasons, are something that the whole city just it's
and that's
incredible.
A huge weapon, isn't it? We've seen it already a few times this season. The 12th man factor is very much at play.
Totally.
And I saw Arsenal play Athletic Club in Bilbao. They were okay at home. I think Newcastle will put them away quite handily.
Oh, okay. Well, despite that West Ham loss,
which I think will irk them.
Yes.
I think if there's anything, this season with how things are going that's going to give you a bit of a kick up the arse, it's that.
Well, maybe Dan Burn could take a leaf out of Mickey van der Ven's book.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah. That'd be even fewer strides, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would be longer.
Yeah,
to get up there, but I mean that would go for anybody, so that's not a dig at Dan Burn.
No,
but yeah, he would have to be holding them all off, with like 5 defenders just trying to get around him. So
just picking the goalkeeper up, moving that goal.
Now, former Newcastle United owner Mike Ashley has emerged as one of the front runners to take over at Sheffield Wednesday.
The Grim Reaper, isn't he?
I mean, if you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, what do you make of that? You know what you're getting, but
there's a ceiling on how much fun you're ever going to have again.
This is the problem with this whole thing, is it's been so dire there. They're in administration. Chansiri is a dreadful operator. They can't wait to see the back of him completely. So they need a takeover. They need money. And then Mike Ashley comes along and is like, I'll stump that up. What do you do?
This isn't even the end of it, is it? Because they've got 2 more charges relating to failing to pay their players to come, which are likely to lead to more points deductions.
I mean, they'll get relegated.
Which I suppose you're right, doesn't matter. But they also can't sign a player for any money until the summer of 2027.
Yeah, that's tough.
That feels extremely harsh.
Yeah, it does.
Especially in the kind of reality of the modern landscape of football, where these absolute clowns like Chansiri can come in completely within the framework set up by the footballing authorities and then decimate a club, and then the club pay for it after they go. It seems really, really over the top.
Yes, totally. Does this seem over the top to you, Jim, that journalist Alan Nixon is attempting to file legal proceedings against a Sheffield Wednesday pie account on X?
That is certainly one of the ways in which I would characterise it, yes.
Yeah, so he's a journalist, Alan Nixon, and he's been getting into a fight with this. And the South Stand Pies account on X said, understand Alan Nixon is being paid up to £1,000 a time by Sheffield Wednesday Football Club to distribute spin on what's going on at Wednesday. It's been going on for the last 4 months. Which, if true, is
pretty scandalous.
Yeah, it really is.
Alan Nixon wasn't happy about the accusation, was he? So
no.
he went off at the pie on Twitter. He seemed to have some idea of who the pie was. But the pie insisted, I'm not the person you think I am. He also said, I had 3 followers before you started interacting with me, and one of them was an oven. So it's actually worked out really well for this pie.
Yeah, true.
One of them was an oven.
Which is probably ominous if you're a pie, right?
No, because you become a pie in an oven, don't you?
Yeah, that's where you... It's more a person.
Yeah, I suppose... Building. Yeah, a waiter is ominous.
Yeah, cutlery.
Yeah.
Well, no.
But are they thinking, no, that's what I've been built for, so I want to be eaten?
Yeah, I mean, you might be right.
You don't want to be just thrown in the bin. You'd be like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I had so much more to give.
Come on, eat me.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't pie me off.
Yeah, exactly. There
exactly.
you are, Jim.
And that's that story done with. Yeah.
There we go.
Can I say, if football journalists are going to argue with pies on the internet, it is our duty to report on it.
Yeah,
really
I think that's fair. Yeah. That is fair.
Manchester City host Borussia Dortmund tonight. Big one.
Haaland brace.
Erling Haaland derby.
Oh, you don't want to be on the other end of that, do you?
No, you don't. He talked to Jules Breach about why he did the robot celebration. Our very own Jules Breach. Did you enjoy the robot celebration, or do you think that should just be left to Peter Crouch?
I watched it with my wife, and she was like, oh, he's doing that really badly. And I was like, I think that's the point. And she was like, well, why does he bother doing it then? And I was like, oh, because it's a bit funny and endearing.
Yeah, because
My wife's the worst. Sorry. But yeah, I quite liked it.
I'm team your wife.
Yeah.
Chelsea travel to Azerbaijan to play Karabag, which is a trip they'll be happy to get out.
What in the Conference League is that? How have they pulled that off? It's a little freebie from last season because they won it.
Hey, Arsenal have got Kairat
at home
in January.
Do you think that's what it is? Bring your own Karabag.
It could be. It could well be.
Karabag for life.
There we are, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast Creator Network. Friends of the Ramble, make sure to go and watch today's Ramble Uncut. And if you're not a friend of the Ramble, click the join button right now to get a bonus episode every single Wednesday.